Today's story is about a quiz program named The Price is Right. The concept of the program is that they show the contestants things, and they have to guess their prices. It's as simple as that. They show you an item, and you try to estimate the price. The winner is the one who guesses a price close to the real price. In the last phase of the competition, there would be 2 contestants. This phase is the most important because of its huge awards. It is called the showcase. In this phase, many items are shown to the contestants, whether they are merchandise or touristic trips. The merchandise shown is different. Each contestant has his own showcase. The contestant who guesses the closest price of the shown products is the winner in the showcase phase, and he wins all of what was shown to him. In case the contestant's guess was less than the real price with a difference of $250, he would win the products shown to his competitor as well. The winner would win all the products shown at the showcase phase, and the other contestant would get nothing. The show lasted for 50 years, and over these years, no contestant had ever managed to exactly guess the price of the showcase that was shown to them. In the previous stages, when only one product was shown, some contestants guessed the right price because only one item was shown to them, and many items were shown several times, so it was easy to remember the prices. As for the showcase phase, as we previously mentioned, many products are shown to the contestants, so it's really difficult to guess the exact prices of all the products. They may be close to the right price, but guessing the right prices of all the products is almost impossible, or this is what was believed until the famous episode was released on August 16, 2008. In this episode, there were 2 contestants in the showcase phase. The first was named Sharon, and the second was named Terry. Sharon guessed the price with a difference of $494 from the real price of her showcase, which was a good guess. To make such a guess of the price of many items that are worth almost $30,000, it's an excellent guess that would mostly make her the winner. However, when it was Terry's turn to guess the price, an unexpected thing happened, a thing that had never happened before since the beginning of the show in 1972.
Terry, you had the trailer, jukebox, bid $23,743. Actual retail price, $23,743. You got it right on the nose. You win both showcases. Hasn't happened since 72 or 73, right on the nose. We won $56,437 for the prizes today. Folks, help control the pet pop.
Terry guessed the exact price, which was supposed to be impossible. As it is noticed in the video, the show host's reaction was weird. What happened was something extremely amazing, so he had to have an insane reaction. But why was his reaction rather cold? Because he was simply convinced that Terry was a cheater. He sensed that there was some trick, and he was unable to realize that maybe someone would manage to guess the exact price of 5 products at once. In the showcase phase, the contestants usually make their guesses, and then the show goes to the break. In this episode, the break was much longer than any other episode because the show producers were behind the scenes confused, and the contestant had made the exact guess of the real showcase price. There was kind of a debate between the producers and the show team. They were almost sure that there was some kind of cheating in one way or another. But eventually, they decided to continue the episode normally and investigate the matter later. The show host would then continue the episode and declare that Terry guessed the exact price, but at the same time, he was sure that there was some kind of cheating and the episode wouldn't be released. This was the reason for his cold reaction towards something that is supposed to be historic, a thing that hasn't happened since 1972 when the show began. How could such a strange thing have happened? They actually discovered that Terry didn't cheat. He had studied the program instead. The presented items in the competition were extensively repeated. Although thousands of items were presented in the show, Terry had been following the program for years, analyzing the items and memorizing their prices. This had enabled him to accurately guess the real price of the showcase that was presented to him. Many articles were published on the internet saying that Terry is a genius. He had managed to do something that no one had ever been able to do it before in the show, due to his intelligence and detailed study of the show.
In that sense, yeah, we were playing pricing games out on the street.
So let's just say you did your homework.
I did my homework. And that's what I'd suggest to anybody that's going to do that show. Do your homework. Watch the show, watch the show, watch the show.
Did you hear that? Watch the show.
Now, we all know the secret behind Terry's accurate guess. Terry is a clever man who studied the competition and managed to smartly analyze it, which enabled him to do what seemed to be impossible. The story is as simple as that, and this is its end, or this is what most of the resources claimed. But in fact, there is a bigger secret behind this historical event. There was a man that was much smarter than Terry. His name is Theodore, or Ted. To know how he is related to our story, we should know his strange story first. Ted might be the biggest fan of the show in history. He had attended 37 episodes of filming sessions of the show, and he had participated once. We will know why he had only participated once later, although he had attended the filming of 37 episodes. And to this day, he still keeps all the name tags that they gave to the audience. He was literally a huge fan of the show. Keep in mind that Ted specialized in mathematics and statistics. He was obsessed with numbers. Ted and his family had been following the program since 1973, meaning that since its beginning, Ted was only 6 or 7 years old. The fact that the show was all about numbers and prices attracted him from an early age and made him a big fan and a permanent spectator of the show. Over the years, one episode after the other, he started remarking that the presented things and items in the show were repeating. He first noticed a refrigerator at $789. He saw it for the first time, he memorized its price, and he saw it 4 times again. At that time, he decided to make a huge database of all the items presented in the show.
When I would record the shows and put it all in a Word doc and everything and put it in the database, pretty much every show I had to add 4 or 5 new things because they were always bringing new stuff on.
I wasn't exaggerating when I said he was obsessed with numbers. What he made was extremely amazing. He classified the thousands of items that were presented in the show. It took him years to make such a database, during which he never missed an episode of the show. At that time, he was still in school. He hadn't even reached the age of 18 yet, so he couldn't participate in the show. However, he kept building his database, and besides, he programmed video games using the database he had so that he could play with his family and friends, which enabled him to test his ability to memorize the prices. Ted was doing all of this because he was enjoying it. He wasn't aiming to participate or win the prize. He just loved the show and had fun doing what he was doing. Ted attended the filming of the show for the first time when he was 18 and had just graduated from school. Unfortunately, there was a long line of people waiting to meet the show producers and try to get a chance to participate in the competition. Ted stood up in the line for a long time, and finally it was his turn to meet the producers. He was a bit anxious and stressed, which gave a bad impression to the producer he met, so he was refused and asked to attend the show with the audience. He didn't get the chance to be one of the contestants. The episode's shooting began. One of the important things in this program is that it was allowed for the audience to state the prices they thought were right, and it was up to the contestants to either make a guess depending on the audience's suggestions or not. This didn't contradict the competition rules. On the contrary, the show producers used to encourage the audience to shout out their guesses, which added a cool atmosphere to the show. Among the audience, there was the man who had been analyzing the competition and building a database of all the previously presented items in the show. He began to shout out his guess, but no one cared about him due to the noise that was in the studio, although he was shouting out the real price. Unfortunately, during the next few years, Ted attended the program's filming almost once a year, between 1984 and 1989. During this period, he attended 6 times. He wasn't even once selected to participate, and no one of the contestants had even once paid attention to his guess, although he had the right prices. Ted was memorizing all the prices because it wasn't allowed for the audience to have papers or lists of the prices. Everything was in his mind. In 1990, Ted attended the program filming for the 8th time in his life. He wasn't selected to participate again, but this time, he got a place in the front rows, close enough to the contestants. It was a great opportunity for him, so that his voice would be heard much more clearly than the previous times. As soon as the show host finished describing the shown product, Ted yelled out his guess as loud as he could.
My bidding and yelling and helping. As soon as the first item up for bids was described, as soon as Rod finished the description, I yelled out,
now there's the
first bid of The Price is Right, and everyone starts laughing. And
you, sir, have no chance of winning.
And they put the camera on me at that point, and I'm laughing thinking, oh, you should not have said that.
The show host mockingly told Ted that he had no chance of winning, but the surprise was that Ted's guess was exactly the right price.
And you can't see it on the film because they changed the shot to the contestants, but his eyebrows went from about here to about here.
What is your name? Theodore. The actual retail price is $12.50.
This was the first time in years that Ted had finally managed to shed the spotlight on himself. His voice became heard. He began to appear more on camera, and the show host started to talk to him directly. From that moment, everything had changed. During the same episode, in one of the breaks, one of the contestants, whose name is Suzanne, turned her head towards Ted, asking for help. They had a small talk, and Ted agreed to help her. The show host had noticed that, but this didn't contradict the competition rules. But the presenter's attention to that would shed more light on Ted.
Susan was just overtly flirting with Theodore out here. Is that your bid, or did you get that from Theodore?
And then they bring out the item, and I can tell kind of immediately it's these little Emmett Kelly figurines. So Susan finally turned around. I told her, $6.95. I used to be much better at that.
$6.95, Susan. Theodore give you that?
Yes, he did.
Theodore! Will dinner tonight be separate checks?
I'll pay.
There you are, Theodore. Whether you get on stage or not, Theodore, you've won a little prize on The Price is Right.
Suzanne went on to the next segment of the show where a TV was shown to her. This segment was called Check Game. Ted was trying to tell her the right number so she could win as much money as possible, but she didn't pay attention to him and chose a number on her own.
Didn't you hear, Theodore?
No, I didn't hear.
He told you to write the check for $2,100. You would have had exactly $6,000.
So, and by the way, I'm still waiting for that dinner. It's been, what are we on now, 25, 27 years?
After all these years, Ted managed to perfectly attract attention for the first time. Even the show host began to interact with him, although he was not one of the contestants. His reputation began to grow more and more among the contestants, the program producers, and the audience. He became like a celebrity in the competition.
By the time I was walking out to where my truck was, people were already leaving, and it was hilarious to me because everyone was like rolling down their windows and going, "Bye, Theodore. Good luck, Theodore. I hope you get on the show, Theodore. Bye, Theodore." It was just like I was the celebrity, and it was just the most awesome feeling.
Ted kept attending many episodes of the program, during which he managed to help many contestants win huge prizes. Tens of thousands of dollars were won by the contestants thanks to him, and some of them won cars and many other expensive prizes.
$846. You win. The difference of $346.
I can't believe it. This is the best show in the world.
Oh, it gets better with every prize you win, doesn't it?
There's Theodore. There's Theodore. Which, because I helped her, so.
Despite all of this, Ted wasn't even once selected to be one of the contestants. Were the producers afraid that he could continue to win infinitely? Which is impossible, by the way, because the prizes are limited, and in each episode, only one could win. So not choosing him all these years is incomprehensible. However, Ted finally got a chance in 1992, after attending 24 episodes of filming and being selected to be one of the contestants.
Theodore, you made it. You made it. Theodore has been a loyal friend and true. How many times have you been here?
24.
24 times.
As it was expected, the price guess segment was a piece of cake for him due to the database he made.
Next item up for bids, and it's a recliner. So I listen carefully, and I look at the monitor, and I see it's Brookline. Wardell, who's just come down to contestants row, bids first, and I'm thinking, please don't bid $5.99, please don't bid $5.99, please don't bid $5.99.
$650.
$650. Now let's go up here to Theodore.
$5.99.
$5.99. One of you is exactly right. $100 bonus for the contestant who bid $5.99. Theodore.
Unfortunately, once the contestant steps on stage, the skill is no longer useful while luck plays a significant role. The first game Ted played was Punch Board, which is a large board with many circles. Each one is an opening that the contestant can open to win a cash prize ranging from $50 to $100,000. Ted managed to get $1,000, which is a good amount, but his goal was to reach the final phase, which we mentioned before, the showcase. Ted would undoubtedly be the winner in that phase, but to get there, he must be lucky. He had to spin this wheel twice, and the total of the numbers he got must be bigger than his opponents. Unfortunately, he got a small number, lower than his opponents, which made him out of the competition before reaching the showcase. His bad luck ruined his dream. This was the end of Ted's journey in the competition as a contestant, because each one had only one chance to participate, and then he could only attend among the audience. It's unfortunate that after all these years of hard work, he couldn't even reach the showcase. However, Ted did all of this with love. He didn't do it for money, and that's why he kept attending episodes and helping the contestants. Ted was helping the contestants without conditions and without any requests. For example, he helped this contestant win 2 cars, a computer, and many other things, and this contestant was lucky, unlike Ted.
He's already gotten on the show and he's already won his car. He goes up to spin the wheel, and what does he land on?
Randy, you got $1. You're having quite a day.
2018. You win with a difference of only.
After the show, he gave me the biggest hug I've probably ever gotten in my life. He was still so excited. He's like, I want to keep in touch with you. Can I have like your phone number? And I said, well, I can give you my email address. And he said, I don't have a computer. And I said, Brandon, you just won a computer. And he goes, oh my God, I just won a computer. And I'm like, yeah, but you just won 2 cars.
Ted remained a loyal big fan of the show and kept attending the filming of the episodes from time to time over the years. He also kept developing and updating his database consistently. He improved the games he had programmed before and made more developed versions of them. He did all of these things with passion and love. Now let's go back to our starting point.
The first item up for bid that I successfully bid on was the large green egg ceramic cooker.
And the first time it was $900, which it had been previously to that. And then in March, it was on the show again, but it was $11.75.
And it was on about 3 weeks before. And I knew the price was $11.75 on that.
Oh.
And Terry looked to Linda and me for advice, and so we signaled him or told him $11.75.
So that got me up on the stage, and we went on from there.
Everyone will be able to know about the secret behind Terry's guess if I tell you that Ted was among the audience and that all that Terry claimed, that he studied the competition and the prices, was a lie. Ted didn't only help Terry in the showcase, but also in the first part of the show.
Terry bid $23,743. Actual retail price, $23,743. You got it right on the nose. You win both shows.
Terry claimed that he knew the prices since the beginning, although Ted was the one who provided him with all the prices. Terry and his wife went to meet Ted and had a small talk before shooting the episode, and Ted agreed to help. Ted and Terry's wives sat next to each other, and Terry was looking towards them most of the time. Sometimes Ted himself gave Terry the guess, and sometimes his wife did. But in the end, all the guesses were from Ted.
And the last prize is the high-low trailer. Well, there's 2 of them. There's a 17-foot and there's a 22-foot. It looks kind of short, but I listened to make sure that was what it was. I added it up. I told Linda what it was, and I said, let me do it again. And I added it up again in my head, and I said, $23,743. Is that what I said before? And she said, yes. Terry looks at us, and then I thought, maybe we don't want to call this much attention to ourselves. maybe we should just get both showcases and not make it a big spectacle. So I went $23,500, but I think at that point he was really focusing on Linda, and I'd already told her the price. And you can see him kind of mouthing numbers and looking at us, and he says,
$23,743. Wow.
And Drew, most ironic statement ever, says, that's a very exact bid.
Ted wanted to keep it secret and tried to keep Terry a number close to the exact number. And then he would be $100 close to the real price. So he would win the showcase in any case. He didn't want to tell Terry the exact price so as not to attract attention, but he told Terry's wife that was next to him. Terry focused more on his wife than Ted, so he said the exact real price. But eventually, it was Ted's guess. So how dared Terry claim in many interviews that he studied the competition? Ted didn't get any of the prizes or credit for what he did.
There were all these theories, none of which were correct. I mean, I think we've proven that I've known my prices from day one, and it's not unusual for me to help people win.
What are crackers worth, and what's the salsa sauce going for, and what about ester seed? These are... So, in that sense, yeah, we were playing pricing games out on the street.
So let's just say you did your homework.
I did my homework. And that's what I'd suggest to anybody that's going to do that show. Do your homework. Watch the show, watch the show, watch the show.
Did you hear that? Watch the show.
It's just sad that people don't know the whole story. So I appreciate being able to tell it.
We have come to the end of the story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.